And I remember thinking just when I found that person that I've looked for my whole life, that she was about to be taken away from me. Penny and I met online dating, actually. We were both at the point in our life when we were ready to call it quits with that it wasn't for us. And sort of as a last-ditch effort, I reached out to her and she responded. We met at Starbucks and grabbed a cup of coffee, and at that point I knew. And we began a long courtship. I realized that we have a term for each other. We call each other Lamo, which is love of my life. And I realized that I had met the one. We dated for about 2 years and decided to get married. Had a beautiful wedding on the beach, Destin, Florida, and came home and began about the everyday business of life. And one day she called me and told me that she had breast cancer. I was at work, and I'm a fireman, work 24-hour shifts, so I'm gone. And she had, I knew that she had a mammography that day, and she's always, ever since I've known her, she's always had cysts and things that they called her back in to check. And wasn't even really on my radar. It wasn't anything I was concerned about. She went in and had some further testing done just to make sure everything was all clear. And my phone rang, and I was expecting her to say, "Oh, it's all good." And she called crying, and she said that she had breast cancer. I coped with it a lot of different ways. The main way was I cried a lot. But when you're a guy and you're a fireman and you're raised in the South, you don't cry. So every day when I went to work, I made the drive from West Knoxville to Alcoa in my truck on Pellissippi, and I cried almost every day driving to work. And I would cry so hard sometimes that I had to stop and pull over because I thought I was going to lose her. As I said, when you're raised in the South and you're supposed to be a man and you're in a fire station with 8 other guys that are looking for any reason at all to blast you about everything, you can't really let yourself show emotion. I think the hardest part for me to help my wife was, my wife is very independent. She's a very strong person, and she tried to go through this whole process with everyone else in mind. She didn't want to be an inconvenience. She didn't want to be a burden. There were a lot of times that I'd say, "Sweetheart, let me get that for you, or let me do that for you," and it was almost like I was insulting her and saying that she wasn't capable. And so the hardest part, I feel like, for me going through it was getting out of my own way, because you have to meet that person at their need. And sometimes what I needed wasn't what she needed. I needed to feel like I was being a help. I needed to feel like I was being supportive to her and understanding to her. And what she needed, truthfully, was just to kind of be left alone and process at her own speed. Looking back, some of the things that I'm most proud of is that I was just there for her. I went to almost every treatment that she had. I tried to corral our kids and get them to help around the house so that she had less to do. I didn't realize how going through the treatments, the radiation would make her so tired and deplete her. So it's, We have a saying between ourselves that it's the little things. And so when you can help someone with laundry that they don't have to do, or you can help them mop the floor, it's those little things like that that save that energy for later and other things.